Wind howling. Distant gunfire. Radio static. The valley was supposed to be clear. That's what the intel said. That's what Lieutenant Marcus Chun repeated to himself as he pressed his back against the crumbling wall, feeling the impact of bullets chewing through the stone just inches from his head. 6 men. 70 rounds between them. No air support. No reinforcements. And somewhere in the ridges above, at least 40 hostiles are closing in like a noose. Chen's hand trembled as he keyed his radio. Static. He tried again. Nothing. Sergeant Kowalski was already bleeding through his shoulder dressing. Private Hayes hadn't spoken in 10 minutes. Just stared at his remaining magazines with the kind of math that never ended well. They'd walked into a kill box, and someone, somewhere up in those mountains, had been waiting for them. Chun closed his eyes, listened to the wind, to the gunfire, to the silence between heartbeats. Then, a sound he didn't expect. A single crack, high caliber, far away. One of the advancing shooters dropped. Chen's eyes opened. Who the hell was that? 12 hours earlier, the mission brief was simple, almost insultingly so. Recon patrol. Grid coordinates 4-7 Delta. Verify abandoned enemy position. Mark it for demolition. Return by nightfall. Standard procedure. Low risk. Chun had run dozens of these. So had his team. Staff Sergeant Maria Reyes checked her rifle for the 3rd time before they rolled out. She was meticulous like that. Never satisfied until every piece of gear was perfect. The others joked that she probably inspected her breakfast. She never laughed at those jokes. Kowalski drove the lead vehicle. Hayes rode gunner. Reyes took point in the second truck with Chun and 2 others, Corporal Damon Rivera and Private First Class Liam Cross. The valley stretched before them like a scar in the earth. Dry. Rocky. The kind of terrain that swallowed sound and gave nothing back. Feels wrong, Reyes said quietly. Chun glanced at her. Intel's solid. Intel's always solid. Until it isn't. She had a point. But orders were orders. They pushed deeper into the valley. The abandoned position was exactly where it was supposed to be. A cluster of bombed-out buildings. Scorched earth. Shell casings scattered like seeds. Spread out, Chun ordered. 15-minute sweep. Mark anything useful. The team moved with practiced efficiency. Reyes disappeared into the shadows of the largest structure. Rifle up, scanning corners with the kind of patience that came from too many close calls. That's when Cross found it. LT, you need to see this. Chun moved to where Cross was crouched. Tarp. Underneath it, crates. Recent. Not covered in dust like everything else. Chen's stomach tightened. This position isn't abandoned. Reyes's voice crackled over the radio. Contact north. Multiple. The world exploded. Gunfire erupted from every direction. Muzzle flashes winked from windows, rooftops, ridgelines. The team scattered, diving for cover as rounds tore through the air. Ambush. Fall back to the vehicles. But the vehicles were already burning. Kowalski took a round to the shoulder before he'd made it 10 feet. Rivera dragged him into cover behind a collapsed wall. Chen's mind raced. They were surrounded. Outgunned. No transport. No comms. Something was jamming their radios. This wasn't random. This was planned. Defensive positions. Conserve ammo. Reyes slid in beside him, breathing controlled despite the chaos. We're not making it out of this. Chun didn't answer because she was right. Present moment. The shooter dropped. Not wounded. Dead. Clean through the head from at least 800 meters. Chun stared at the body, then at the ridgeline where the shot must have come from. Did one of ours? No. Reyes was already scanning the mountains. That wasn't us. Another crack. Another hostile down. Then another. Whoever was shooting wasn't just accurate. They were surgical. Each shot was perfectly timed. Each target chosen with purpose, always the one advancing fastest, the one with the best angle on Chen's team. Someone's covering us, Hayes whispered. Who? Kowalski groaned through his pain. Silence. The enemy was realizing it too. Their advance faltered. Confusion rippled through their ranks. They began shooting at shadows, at ridges, at ghosts. But the unseen shooter never missed. Chun keyed his radio, tried the emergency frequency. Unknown friendly. If you can hear this, identify yourself. Static. Unknown friendly. We are U.S. forces. Grid 4-7 Delta. Requesting. Another shot. Another body. No response. Reyes moved to a better position, her eyes never leaving the ridgeline. Whoever they are, they're keeping us alive. We need to use it. Push east to that drainage ditch. It's our only chance. Chin nodded. On my mark. Covering fire. The team moved. The unseen protector moved with them. Every time an enemy fighter tried to flank, they dropped. Every time someone lined up a shot on Chen's people, they were eliminated before they could pull the trigger. It was like being protected by a ghost. She didn't think about their faces. That was the rule. The moment you started seeing them as people, husbands, brothers, sons, was the moment you hesitated. And hesitation got people killed. Captain Eliza Kane had learned that lesson the hard way. She adjusted her scope. Breathed. The wind was shifting. 3 knots west. She compensated. Target. Hostile fighter. Advancing on the drainage ditch. Clear shot. Her finger rested on the trigger. Not tense. Just there. Waiting for the moment between heartbeats. Crack. The fighter dropped. She cycled the bolt. Smooth. Mechanical. Already scanning for the next threat. Below, the soldiers were moving. Good. They were learning. Using the terrain. Not panicking. She'd been watching them since they entered the valley. Saw the ambush forming. Knew what was coming. She could have warned them. Could have broken radio silence. But warnings didn't save lives. Actions did. Her spotter was gone. Rotated out 3 weeks ago. Command didn't see the point in replacing him. This was supposed to be an observation post. Monitor. Report. Nothing more. But Kane didn't observe well. She protected. Even when no one asked. Even when no one knew. Another target. Center mass. Too far for a headshot with the wind. She aimed for the chest. Crack. The enemy was retreating now. Confused. Scared. They'd lost 13 fighters and couldn't find the shooter. Good. Let them be scared. 6 months earlier. The hearing room was cold. Captain Eliza Kane sat at the table. Hands folded. Eyes forward. 3 officers are across from her. Their expressions told her everything she needed to know. Captain Kane, the colonel began. You were ordered to maintain position and observe, not to engage. Yes, sir. And yet you fired 17 rounds. Killed 11 enemy combatants. Yes, sir. Why? Kane met his eyes. They were going to execute civilians, sir. I had the shot. You had orders. I had the shot. Silence filled the room. The colonel leaned back. You're one of the best marksmen we have, Kane. Maybe the best. But you can't keep going off script. With respect, sir, the civilians didn't have a script. They just had seconds to live. Another officer, a major with too many ribbons and not enough field time, spoke up. You think you're some kind of hero? Kane's expression didn't change. No, sir. I think I'm a soldier who refuses to watch people die when I can stop it. The hearing ended with a reprimand. Not a discharge. Not a medal. Just a note in her file. Effective. Insubordinate. Use carefully. They sent her to the observation post 3 weeks later. Middle of nowhere. Nothing but mountains and silence. A punishment disguised as an assignment. But Kane didn't complain. Because from that position she could see everything. And she'd made herself a promise. Never again would she watch good people die because she followed orders instead of her instincts. Her radio crackled. Not the soldiers below. Command. Overwatch 7. This is TOC. Report status. Kane didn't answer immediately. She was tracking 2 fighters trying to circle behind Chen's team. Crack. Crack. Both down. Overwatch 7. Respond. She keyed the mic TOC. This is 7. All quiet. We're picking up significant weapons fire in your sector. Negative TOC. Local hunting. Seasonal. A pause. Understood. Maintain observation protocol. Copy. She released the mic. Lies came easily now. Below, the soldiers had reached better cover. A cluster of large boulders near the drainage route. Defensible. Smart. She counted the remaining hostiles. 23. Still too many, but manageable. Chen's team held the boulder position for 20 minutes. Ammo was critical now. Kowalski had lost too much blood. Cross had taken shrapnel to his leg. And the enemy was regrouping. They're going to rush us, Reyes said, her voice flat. Factual. Chen knew she was right. The hostiles had figured out the unseen shooters' blind spots. They were massing on the west side, where the terrain broke up sightlines. If they charged from there, even the ghost in the mountains couldn't stop them all. We need to move, Chen said. Now, before they're ready. Move where? Hayes asked. We're 3 clicks from extraction and half of us can barely walk. Chen looked at the map. There. A narrow canyon leading east. Rough terrain. Slow going. But it offered cover. There. We move in 2 minutes. Reyes nodded. I'll take rear guard. No. You're staying with. Someone has to slow them down LT by time. You know that. She was right. And Chun hated that she was right. 1 minute, he said. Then you follow. That's an order. Reyes smiled faintly. Yes, sir. She saw what was happening. Saw the team preparing to move. Saw Reyes taking a position to cover their withdrawal. Saw the enemy mass forming on the west ridge. 20-plus fighters. All about to converge on one woman holding a rifle with maybe 30 rounds left. Kane ran the numbers. She could drop 8, maybe 10 before they reached Reyes. Not enough. Her hand moved to her radio. She could call for air support, break protocol completely, save them all, and end her career. Court-martial. Maybe prison. Where she could do nothing. Follow orders. Let fate play out. She looked through her scope at Reyes. Saw the woman's hands steady on her rifle. Saw the acceptance in her posture. A soldier ready to die so others could live. Kane had seen that look before. In a mirror. She made her choice. Rising from her position, she grabbed her rifle and moved. Fast. Down the ridge, through the rocks, toward an outcropping that would give her a new angle. Closer to the enemy. Closer to danger. But a better shot. Chen's team moved through the canyon. Every step was agony. Kowalski was barely conscious. Cross was leaving a blood trail. Behind them, gunfire erupted. Reyes. Chen wanted to turn back. Every instinct screamed at him. But his orders were to get his people out. Rivera grabbed his arm. She knows what she's doing, LT. The gunfire intensified. Then, cutting through it all, a different sound. The high crack of the unseen protector. Again, again, again. Faster than before. More aggressive. They're not shooting at Reyes anymore, Hayes said, listening. They're shooting at someone else. She'd chosen the worst possible position strategically. And the only possible position morally. From here, she could see everything. The enemy advances. Reyes's position. The fleeing soldiers. And the enemy could see her. Muzzle flash gave away her position with every shot. Rounds started impacting around her. Rock chips and dust. Didn't matter. She fired. Reloaded. Fired. Dropped 5 fighters in as many seconds. The enemy turned fully toward her now. All of them. Exactly what she wanted. Reyes used the opening. Fell back. Running. Kane tracked her through the scope for just a second. Saw her make it to cover. Safe. Good. A round hit the rock 6 inches from Kane's head. She adjusted. Fired. Another hostile down. Her radio crackled. Reyes's voice was breathless. Unknown friendly. If you can hear me. Thank you. Kane didn't respond. She just kept shooting. 16 rounds left. 15. 14. The enemy was closing. Too close. She could retreat. Disappear back into the mountains like smoke. Or she could give the soldiers 10 more seconds. 10 seconds was the difference between life and death. She chose their life. 13 rounds. 12. 11. Chen's team reached the extraction point as the sun set. Helicopters were already inbound. The sight of them nearly broke Chen's composure. They were going to make it. All of them. Kowalski was loaded first. Then Cross. Then the others. Reyes stood beside Chen, staring back at the mountains. Did anyone see them? She asked quietly. The shooter. No, Chen said. Do we even know if they made it out? Chen didn't answer, because he didn't know. The after-action report was filed. Ambush. Heavy casualties were prevented by unknown friendly fire. Likely local sympathizer or coalition element. Chen had tried to find out more. Asked for intelligence. Asked a command. No one knew anything. No sniper teams in that sector. No coalition forces. No operations. Officially, their guardian angel didn't exist. Chen sat in his quarters, staring at the map of the valley. He'd marked the approximate position where the shots came from. A ridge. Remote. Barely accessible. He'd requested permission to return. Investigate. Denied. The war moved on. New missions. New objectives. But Chen couldn't stop thinking about that voice on the radio. Reyes's thank you sent into the void. Had anyone heard it? The observation post was empty. Just wind and stone and the ghosts of gunfire. A pair of hikers found the shell casings 3 months later. Dozens of them. Arranged in neat piles like someone had policed their brass out of habit. They reported it. Military investigators came. Looked around. Found nothing else. No blood. No gear. No identification. Just evidence that someone had been there. Someone who had fired a lot of rounds with exceptional accuracy. The investigation was closed after 2 days. Inconclusive. Captain Eliza Kane sat in a different observation post. Different mountains. Different war. Same mission. Watch. Report. Observe only. Her rifle rested beside her, cleaned and ready. On her wrist, she wore a simple paracord bracelet. Nothing standard issue. Nothing that would appear in any inventory. Woven into it were 6 small knots. One for each soldier she'd pulled out of that valley. She didn't wear medals. Didn't want them. This was enough. Below, in the valley, a patrol was moving. Different unit. Different faces. But the same vulnerability. The same need for someone to watch over them. Kane settled into position. Breathed. And waited. Because some protectors didn't need recognition. They didn't need thanks. They just needed to know that when darkness came, when the odds were impossible, when good people were cornered and afraid, someone was there. Unseen. Unheard. But always watching. Every year, countless acts of courage occur in shadows. No cameras. No witnesses. No records. This story honors those who protect without glory. Those who save without recognition. The unseen protectors who ask for nothing, except that we remember someone was there.